Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome back to episode 70, the Workbench After Hours podcast. Chris and Jacob are with us here today, and Chris is going to start out by telling us the whiskey of the week.
We're going to try Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. If you don't know what that means, go back, I don't know, probably 20 podcasts ago.
Yeah.
And we had a whole thing about it. So literally it's all about it being 4 years old. It's been 100 proof when it poured into the bottle. So that's the gist of it.
Yep, under government supervision.
Yep.
We go over the whole history, so it's pretty cool.
Yep.
It also says it on the bottle.
Yeah, most of them will say that. I don't know why. I wonder if it's like, was it legal that they had to write it? What was so special about it on the bottle?
They had to write where it was distilled and bottled.
Yeah.
And they had to put bottled and bond on the bottle.
Yeah.
At exactly 100 proof.
Yep.
So it's kind of a new thing that's coming back, kind of lost interest, but now it's, and I think that's probably why they label it on there, like what it is, give it a little brief history. So
yeah,
new whiskey people like us know what the hell that means.
I think this is going to be good. I have a weird feeling.
You know, it's funny. We talk so much crap on Evan Williams.
Yeah,
and then
we did.
I haven't had the regular yet, but we had this small batch, right?
Yeah, small batch, and it was, oh my gosh.
We liked it.
For $20, I think it beats a lot of $50 bottles out there.
Yep.
I would agree.
All right. 100 proof, bright gold. What are you guys getting on the nose? Vanilla and caramel, like that's straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get vanilla, but it's got a strong alcohol.
Yeah, you can smell the proof.
Yeah, you could definitely tell it's a higher proof immediately.
Supposed to get caramel with hints of vanilla, oak, and barley.
It's real light smelling. I think it's going to taste real strong without ice.
All right, throw that sucker back and let us know what you're tasting. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's definitely better than Bell Mead.
Yeah.
It's got a spicy finish, but like honestly, like up front on the tongue,
It's pretty smooth.
yeah, it was incredibly smooth for being, lukewarm, no ice.
Yeah, the back end you get that real spice.
I think ice is gonna
Take a lot of that
cure
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Actually
mean,
got some good flavor on the front end though.
Yeah.
for a pretty cheap product, it's not bad. I forget
Yeah.
what the price of this was, but it was under 30. I think.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
much.
their small batch was $25, and I was like, geez.
Smell, I would guess 100 proof. Taste, I would not guess 100 proof.
Yeah.
Man, so you're supposed to get a citrus on top of vanilla and black pepper,
I get the black pepper and the vanilla. I don't get citrus.
and then a warm, long, and dry finish. It's definitely
It's
long.
definitely warm.
And dry.
There you go.
That nailed it.
Nailed it. It's not bad. So, not the best 100 proof, like bottled and bond. I
No.
really like that early times.
But it's Evan Williams. Would you expect it to be the best? But it's,
Yeah.
I will say, like, the connotations of Evan Williams, like, I've thrown out the door. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's a lot better than,
What people say
Yeah.
it is.
All right. Well, let's try it on the rocks. See if it gets any better.
Or it changes on us.
I'm sure it's, yeah. Always does.
At least this heat will probably go away.
Chris,
Clinkety clink,
Chris
clank,
doesn't
clank.
like the heat.
I do and I don't. I think in the winter I really like it, but once it starts warming up outside, I'm like, a little too much heat.
All right. So if you want to, do you want any more of that?
sure.
All right. So we don't have a gun of the week. We were talking about this. We're like, what's the gun of the week? I'm like, I don't know. And then Chris mentioned, oh, we should talk about the fingerprint gun. He said no, but I'm going to let him talk about that. Chris.
So I was surfing the web, and I saw an article. They're talking about this gun where you do fire. It has some type of biometric finger scanning that when you buy it, it's your biometric, and it will only fire with your fingerprint.
Is it? Do you know the brand?
I don't remember the brand. It was just one of those like,
In theory, it's really cool.
yeah, in theory. But it sucks if like, hey, you want to shoot this, and then just to see if you like it.
I'm planning a pot. I'm cooking dinner. I'm painting my living room. I have stuff on my hands. Does it work?
I don't know. That'd be the thing.
Yeah. I think like Gen 1, maybe not for me. Gen 5, maybe
Yeah.
for me.
So I glanced at this article. MSRP was $1,499.
Yeah.
I would expect it to be well over 1,000.
I'm gonna buy my really nice 1911 I want instead of that.
Correct, and it'll
Yeah.
go bang every time for sure. But like, I guess like there's a market for that. Like if you were genuinely worried and like it would give you quicker access than like a biometric safe, I would assume. I would hope. I sure would hope. I mean, and what if it is like that? What if it's like a point, aim, beep,
Yeah.
fire? Like
That would suck.
Fuck that. Like,
Too long. Yeah. I don't know. I don't. For that much, you can get a lot better gun.
Yeah. Where was it located? Did it say where?
I think it was on just like where your grip would be, like on the magazine of the frame. I think it was right there. Like it's doing your thumbprint, I think.
I would like to see a demo of this.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like,
And like,
really?
could you have it to where it recognizes not only yours, but say like your wife's or something?
I don't know. That'd be. I would want to know that because that would suck if it's only you.
true.
Yeah.
Like if shit hit the fan, fuck.
Knowing
Yeah.
the government, they're going to control that to where it is whoever did the paperwork on that gun is the only person that can access that.
And that's my other thing. Like
Makes that very stupid.
it's got to have some type of battery or internal battery,
Yeah.
probably, so it can.
Or a failure point, even if
Yeah.
it's solar or something, it's
Yeah.
gonna have a failure point. It's just more stuff to, I don't know, kind of like I have a nitrous car, and when I got into it, my motor's my most expensive thing, so I'm like, let's put all the safety stuff on it,
Yeah.
and then you get out there and you go to use it, and the safety stuff quits, like stops it from doing what it's supposed to do
Yeah.
originally, and then you're like, well, fuck the safety stuff if it's not gonna do what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
Now it's just hindering me. Same thing with gun. Like when I need that if I had to use that gun, that wouldn't be a gun. Would you conceal carry that gun?
Hell no.
Exactly. So like,
That'd be like my
Then
last
what's the point?
defense.
correct.
Like,
It's a nightstand gun for a liberal, is what
Yeah.
it is. Like realistically,
yeah.
There you go.
It's for
you
the
put that in a biometric safe, so you got to open the safe. Then you still
it's
have
for
to
a
be the
woke
right person.
society. Is pretty much what it's for.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So, all right. So I tried this on the rocks.
I have not yet.
And I have not
Man,
yet.
I don't know if I like it as much right now.
Really?
May be just me. It's the taste definitely changed.
The back end changed a lot.
I don't like the taste I'm getting on the back end.
You're getting a lot more vanilla on the back end.
I don't know. It's more bitter.
Yeah.
Definitely not as
Maybe
good.
that's your citrus. I don't know. It's more bitter on the back end.
Yeah.
So I would not go out of my way to buy another bottle.
No,
I mean, if you're gonna do it neat, maybe, but
I would say I would buy the
small batch over that.
yeah.
The small batch, or if I wanted a bottled and bond, I'd go early times, which is $25.
Yeah.
And you get a liter
Yeah.
because I've bought several of those since we've tried that one because it's good.
Yeah.
This, I would drink it neat, but I did kind of regretting filling
I
my
wouldn't
glass.
turn a glass away if I came over and you're like, "Hey, I got this out. Do you want a glass?" But
Speaking of which, you still want a bottle of that Buffalo Trace?
I do. I think that's the best bang for your buck.
Oh, that's-
period. I
that
don't
is-
think there's a better whiskey for your money.
Man, I love to just. That's why I have so many bottles because when I see it, I buy it, and then that way I can drink it, like actually drink.
Correct. Yeah, I think it's my favorite whiskey to drink. Like
Yes.
more than that, and it feels like a special occasion. You know, or, or should be, and isn't. Like,
Right. But yeah, I think I had 6, drank 1, so now I'm down to 5. I'm going to sell you 1, so I need to start buying some more.
I couldn't believe he found it. He found it at my liquor store.
Yeah.
On the shelf. I found one ever on the shelf ever, and then have had to ask, and I bought one other that they held back for me, and he finds 2 on the shelf. I look every week. He randomly pops into my liquor store and is like, "Hey, I bought the 2 on the shelf." Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
We went into one and I finally found it. And I was like, yes. Easter egg hunt.
Yep. You finally got yours.
Yep. I was so happy. Or getting ready to walk out, and I just happened to look down, and it was like on a bottom shelf, barely labeled. I was like, "Is that Buffalo Trace?" Like, yeah, it's the Easter egg. You found it.
But here's the thing about Buffalo Trace: if it was readily available
Yeah,
all the time,
it'd be.
I don't think I would search for another whiskey. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would try other whiskeys on occasion, but I would buy Buffalo Trace 90% of the time if it was available.
Yeah, because you're generally $33, I think, is what I usually find it for plus tax. So $35 or so for a great tasting whiskey. It's a little more expensive than number 7 Jack.
Yeah,
About the same price as Gentleman Jack, which I prefer to drink Gentleman Jack over regular Jack, just
Yeah.
because that's what I've been buying lately too. I don't know. It would definitely be a
I'd say I'd like that over
Daily
Gentleman
drinker.
Jack. What would you like, Woodford or like just basic Woodford or Buffalo Trace? Because that would be a tough call for me.
for me. I'd say Buffalo Trace, honestly.
I think I'd go Woodford.
I
Woodford's
think
just
I
so
would lean
smooth.
Woodford.
Well, I'll take
Just
all your
slightly.
Buffalo Traces.
But I mean, but if you're talking the price, like I would take 2 bottles of Buffalo Trace over Woodford too.
Yeah,
Like,
Because Woodford's like, what, 35-ish?
35,
oh,
40
is it?
bucks.
Yeah, true.
Depending
That's
if you can get
pretty
it on
close.
sale.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Woodford's just
it's
hard to
good.
beat.
And it has a different flavor
It's
profile.
totally
It is.
different.
Yeah, it is 2 totally different whiskeys.
So yeah.
Yeah. Buffalo Trace is good. We were talking about that at work today. Man, I wish Buffalo Trace would be just available, and then hopefully Blanton's would come available. But I'm tired of this allocation
The
bullshit.
thing
so-
about them too is they're all really good, neat.
Yeah.
Yes. So say, Blanton's was readily available. Like you can go to the store, pay a certain RP for it anytime you want to. Would you still
Are we
drink
talking
it?
$65?
Yeah. So say it was readily available. You don't have to hunt it. You can go buy it whenever you want for $65. Would you still have that as a special occasion bourbon, or would you drink it regularly?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I feel
Because-
like it's good, but I feel like a part of it is that it's harder to find.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't. Buffalo Trace is in that same category, but I don't like it for the same reason.
Well, I don't want to spend $65 every time I want to have a drinking whiskey.
also
Correct.
gotta
I don't.
think.
And there's less guilt drinking Buffalo Trace, and it's
Yeah.
probably peak enjoyability of cost to flavor.
Yes.
I mean,
For me,
I don't know. For a single barrel, you're talking about 2 different whiskeys at that point. You're talking about single barrel versus just regular.
Yeah.
true.
With Blanton's, I think it's the hunt because
Yeah.
everybody's got to have that, and it's because it's the bottle.
Yep.
I mean, it's got a really cool bottle. Everybody wants that in their collection.
That, and they want the tops to spell out Blanton's.
Yep.
So
Blanton's is the Glock of whiskey.
And I don't know why whiskey is so popular right now. Like,
COVID,
you think?
everything got popular during COVID.
Yeah, I mean a lot of social media stuff too.
Yeah.
Gets people onto it.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's definitely really like I'd say over half the time I go into my liquor store, there's other guys there searching
Yeah.
for whiskey,
Yeah.
and like they'll tailor. Someone comes out and talks to them about all these different bullshit whiskeys that I wouldn't try.
That's why I kind of feel bad like going in there and be like, oh, do you have anything on allocation? Because they get asked that probably every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I know you get asked this, but
See, I don't feel bad when it's the liquor store I've gone to for
Yeah.
9
Yeah.
years and they see me all the time. But
The thing that pisses me off is when you go to a liquor store and they know nothing about it.
like the one where
Yeah,
we were
right.
at and found that Easter egg.
Yeah, that because they had Jack Daniel's single barrel single malt. They had 2 bottles of it, and it was on their raffle. Or like, have you tried it? And do you know what it tastes like? Is it good? Is it worth it? I don't know anything about whiskey or bourbons.
And they couldn't even give us what the MSRP was.
Yeah.
Like, what does this go for? Like, I don't know. It's for a raffle.
Okay, what does it go for?
Tell us about it. Like, you
They
work
say-
at a liquor store.
Yeah,
yeah, you should at least know the MSRP.
and it pissed me off too because they got 3 bottles of Blands in there. How many bottles of Weller did they have? 3 of the red antique,
Yep.
and then they had E.H. Taylor. They had 2 of that.
I asked him what MSRP was on the Red Willer. Did he say?
I think it was like 45, 50 bucks.
Yeah, 52, right?
Yeah.
Okay. At least he knew that.
How much was the raffle ticket?
It's based on how much you spend during a 6-month window.
Which is bullshit.
So you sign up and they'll put it underneath this. So Every time you go in there, it keeps adding up. Well,
It's like a rewards program.
yeah, pretty much. And if you're
What
the
store is this?
Stonegate, I
Yeah.
think it's off of Metcalf and 143rd.
Okay.
We had dinner over there, so that's
Yeah.
why we ended up at that one.
Yeah, but if you were going there all the time, it'd be
Yeah.
worth.
Well, I go to King's quite often, but I mean the top tier who's available to get like the Blanton's and the Rare Eagle and all those are spending $2,000-$3,000 a month on booze.
Yeah.
I can't afford that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one at Stonegate, it looked like the top seller had 3,000, and they're already in month 4.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, you got to figure there's people at all these liquor stores. Like, there's customers. Like, there's people that either host events or do different things that aren't on the books or don't have a liquor license that are using other people's money to buy $3,000 a month worth of liquor because they have parties or.
I need to look into getting my liquor license just to see.
Can you have an FFL and a liquor license?
Why
in the
not?
same
Sure you can.
place?
Why not?
I don't know. I was just curious.
I went to Florida and there was, granted it was closed, but there was a store that was sold guns, liquor,
CBD.
CBD. It was a smoke shop.
it's like
That, yeah, that
one-stop
seems.
shop.
They should just call that Florida Man store. Yeah. Like sells everything.
Yeah.
I remember on the news in Colorado when they were first opening dispensaries, one of them was praised because they chose a location right next to a Chipotle.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh.
What are you going to
And
do?
then Girl Scouts were selling cookies out front. It's like, yeah.
Even better.
So speaking of other states, so our main topic this week, I wanted to kind of discuss. So you know how the federal government, every time something happens, Joe Biden's pressing Congress to pass gun control. And we know the last one that they wanted to pass, but luckily didn't, was pretty strict. It not only banned AR-15s, AK-47s, but went far beyond that. Luckily, that didn't go anywhere. But now we are starting to see it at a state level. Chris and I did a podcast, I don't know, several episodes ago now about the Washington State House ban, and it's going to pass because it passed the House, went to the Senate. They had a revision, and they passed that. Now that it went back to the House, who's going to pass it just because it's the revision's like, oh, yeah, you can drive through the state with these guns, whatever. And as soon as it gets signed by the governor, it goes into effect that minute. And so talking to a rep at Arrow, they're like, yeah, it's going to pass based on their government that they have at the state level. Luckily, there's been a lot of questions. Like I see online, people are like, oh, is Arrow going to go out of business now? Like what's going on with Arrow? They're not. I've talked to the rep and they can still sell out of state. They just cannot sell any of the parts or anything that's banned to Washington residents.
Man,
so
that would
stupid.
like that takes the benefit away of being there, though.
I know.
Like I would go at that point. Why not move your company to a state like Tennessee that's going to offer tax benefits to your employees?
And I don't think they're going to because they're hiring where they're at right now. And they just moved. They moved from
Well,
Tacoma
yeah,
to Lakewood.
You got to think of that too, though. Like the owner lives there and is rooted there.
And they have employees because they weren't Tacoma. I don't know how far Tacoma and Lakewood or how far apart they are, but they brought over like 300 employees from their prior location, bought this new state-of-the-art facility with room to grow because they were also thinking about maybe getting into ammo. So they have a huge investment where they're at now to just take that and move to another state. I mean, the logistics and money in that. Like it's like Stag Arms moving from Connecticut to Wyoming. I mean, you're either laying off all your employees or they're going to move cross country with you. The cost of rebuilding and
Yeah,
it's
you'd
crazy.
have to offer a lot to retain people.
Yeah, so
Relocation services.
As of right now, Arrow, since they are hiring, it looks like they're probably going to stay there. They're just going to sell out of state, which I'm sure that's probably most of their business anyway is out of state.
Yeah, I'm sure that they sell more in
yeah.
49 states than the one.
So their gun control that they're just passing, if you listen to our episode on that, is stricter than anything else that's ever been passed, even in California. It bans probably 80% of guns, anything that can hold over 10 rounds, which is most handguns. So then you're limited to the smaller ones that hold less than 10.
So does it ban it if it can hold it?
Yep. If it has the ability to accept a magazine
larger than 10 rounds.
larger than 10 rounds.
So 3D printers basically made all guns illegal by that. Like,
And
Besides revolvers,
they went
really.
as far as the parts.
Yep.
So you can't have, or once this goes into effect, you can no longer purchase an AR-15 grip or a flashlight that can be mounted to an AR-15. Like, it bans every part, springs, detents, anything. You can no longer buy it.
so can you repair a gun?
No, because you can't get that fucking part unless it's a gun that is not under the ban list. So if you have a Glock 42 or 43, sure.
But those are still.
Well, I mean, if it's under the ban list, it's banned, so you don't need parts for a banned gun. But
Because they have a grandfather clause, so you could keep what you have.
So it's
But yeah, there's a
so
grandfather.
what happens when your bolt carrier, your barrel wears out if you actually use it? Like,
You can't go buy another one legally.
ever.
I mean, there's ways to get that we won't go over, but
That's why you buy a BCM
That's why
with a
everyone
hammer
that's
forged barrel.
42A in there needs to move out of that fucking state and make them go bankrupt.
and what sucks is because Arrow is bringing so much revenue to Lakewood in a state and probably a city that is
they
so
should not benefit from the revenue
Exactly.
of Arrow. That sucks.
Yeah, they
An
are.
anti-gun town that's receiving money from a giant gun manufacturer.
Their revenue
Arrow is huge.
Their revenue jumped. That city's revenue jumped.
Arrow to me is like the Glock of ARs.
Mm-hmm.
Like their standard is above mil spec. It's gonna go bang every time, and it's middle of the range in price. If you want an above average AR starting gun, buy an Arrow, and you're not gonna sell it. You buy much below that, and you probably are.
And it's because they started out as an aerospace company where the tolerances are super tight.
Yep.
So then when they brought that over to, they decided to do the gun stuff. You know, they're running, they
All
know
the
how
quality
to
control.
machine and do
Yeah.
quality control. So it's not like, you know, you're buying a Anderson where it's you either get a good one or a bad one.
Yeah.
Arrow, I mean, it's called Arrow Precision for a reason. Like,
Yep.
they're precise. I have never had any issues. I've built tons of ARs with their parts.
That's all we've built, I think,
Yeah.
is Arrow Precision.
That's really all the AR stuff I carry is Arrow.
Yeah.
Like any parts kits, whatever, all Arrow.
I mean, that's pretty much my whole AR-10
Yeah.
was Arrow.
And unfortunately, that's a lot of their sales is they really don't do, used to sell full completed guns like ARs and stuff like that. But ever since just before the COVID thing, they haven't made a rifle. Like it's strictly parts now.
That's really going to suck for them, too, because they're getting into the whole silencers and things like that now.
Yep. Can't
So-
have those.
Fuck.
Yeah. That Washington State bill, you can't have a threaded barrel at all. Whether it even if it just accepts a muzzle brake, whatever, or a silencer, a threaded barrel.
Every non-pinned and welded AR-15,
Yeah. Well, errors are banned, but
double banned.
Yeah.
double.
Triple, quadruple.
But that's where it goes. Like if you bought
parts
a PSA dagger with a threaded barrel,
Yeah.
that falls under the ban. So you either have to change out the barrel, or I guess you can't because it holds more than 10 rounds. So you're fucked either way. But you can't.
if it has a variant that holds more. Like that's so absurd.
Obviously, that's going to get fought. There's already several lawsuits going against that. But you know, we're
That
seeing,
takes forever though. We're still just coming back from the bump stock deal.
Yes.
That was under Trump. We're still coming back from that. We're still coming back from the pistol brace deal, which is going to get redacted, but
When?
correct.
Yeah. So that's one example. The most recent one. Obviously, we talked about the Oregon one that they were trying to pass there. A lot of lawsuits against that. We're seeing this in most Democratic states. But at some point, if the media keeps showing all these shootings that they deem mass shootings, are we going to start seeing more and more states, you know, even the swing states that may lean a little blue but still kind of red, are we going to start seeing more states come out with their own strict gun control since we can't get it passed at a federal level?
I think
I mean, is that what it's starting to look like, which is kind of scary.
It depends on where you live. I
Yeah.
guess, like if you also look at a map of sanctuary states, I could almost guarantee none of those states are going to pass that type of gun law.
Currently,
also-
but who knows what happens down the road if voters decided to.
True, and at the same time, like, yeah, I mean, a mass shooting or something that hits closer to home, let's say like Kansas could totally flip because Arrowhead got shot up this weekend. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, and it's a difference of like, did one person die? Did 100? Did 500?
It's going to come down to media.
Yeah.
And what they're portraying, because media is going to show you the bad. They never want to show you the good. And I've started noticing Florida now is showing a lot more of the good side, and it's mostly from their local law enforcement. Like sheriffs are talking about, hey, this person, 3 people tried to intrude on this person. He shot him with his AK-47. It's legal. It was justified shooting because they broke in. They tried taking control of
Florida
his.
sheriffs. I've seen where they're like, if you have a gun, use it. Like,
Yeah. And then they're like, I saw another one where they're like, yeah, bad guy had a gun. He wasn't supposed to get it. Gun control doesn't work. Interesting. And I was just like, this is what the media needs to have more of instead of just, oh, this is the bad, blame the gun.
Yeah, no, anything that gets reported on the media is, even if it's 2 people get shot, it seems like that's considered a mass shooting now. And whether it doesn't matter if it's like a true mass shooting where somebody goes in there just to do harm to a bunch of people, or like we've seen in Alabama at the birthday party. I don't think that was technically a mass shooting. Yeah, they shot like 32 people, but that was an altercation between a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
That we don't know the background history on that. So
teenagers. How are they getting that shit?
yeah, they're not supposed to have pistols.
Criminals. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, you're telling me all those teenagers didn't follow the gun control
Interesting.
that there currently is? So
Yeah.
obviously it doesn't, like, gun control doesn't work. Like, they got guns and shot up 32 people.
It's crazy.
But yeah, the media, any shooting now, the media is going to portray it as bad and guns are bad. And
Yeah, I was listening to something like it was an old, like probably like 1960s, 70s article, and they were talking about how the government wanted to get rid of saying republic, like we are a republic, and change it to democracy because democracy is more of a like dictatorship, and that's why we're proud to be a democracy. No, we need to go back to saying no, we are a republic because republic is for the people. But back then they were trying to change it and push that narrative on people. I was just like, interesting. Wonder why we don't say the Pledge of Allegiance like we used to.
do they not in schools anymore?
They do, and some, I know in Spring Hill they do, but I don't know if Olathe does or Overland Park or any of the other ones.
I don't know. Jacob, when your kid goes to school, you'll have to let us know. I know it'll be a few years, but
Yeah, no, I'm curious. We're currently looking at 10 acres in Bonner with my parents to possibly build a house on, which I think would be a little bit more rural, which would be good.
yeah.
But like, I'd definitely be down to go more rural than that as far as my child's concerned, because I'm worried about that. Like, even where we're at,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. You worry about what they're, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. We might even do homeschooling just because I'm so worried about it, because like the liberal agenda in schools is so real. And like, even if you take out like all the like hot topic issues of today, like I feel like the school system, how do you not see it as like making you a cog in a wheel of the machine? Like, it teaches you to wake up every day and go spend 40 hours doing something you don't fucking enjoy over and over and over and over and over because you're supposed to.
Yeah.
It just teaches you to be a slave. And it doesn't help you get ahead, doesn't teach you how to do taxes, doesn't teach you how to do anything to benefit yourself.
I heard another story, like, since I'm in like a smaller district, they started teaching kids this, and like one of the kids actually did his taxes, and their parent went to go claim them, they couldn't. And the parent like flipped out, like, I can claim you till you're 25. You're only 14 years old.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What the hell are you doing? Don't do that again without. I'm glad you did your taxes, but yeah, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, that's what we need to be learning, that or skill trades. Start pushing that. And I was sitting there thinking today, like, when we were kids, they always had like bring your kid to work day and show them how to. I have not seen a kid to work day probably since the 90s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, really?
I would agree there.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. I've never seen anybody else do that. Or
No.
Not only that, but I work in the trades, and I can tell you in the summers, we would have tons of like 16 to like 21-year-olds home from college or wherever in the trades.
Yeah.
If you're 25 on a job site, you are young as fuck right now. Like 30, you're young. Like 30 shouldn't be like we used to call 30-year-olds gray bush when I started. Like you're an old guy because you got a couple of gray hairs. Now, like no, that's the guy carrying the trash is a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
My laborer right now is 30 years old.
Yeah.
My laborer at 21 was 16.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy to me that like we don't have people wanting to work or don't appreciate that type of work at all.
Going back to what you were saying earlier, how we're taught to basically work 40 hours a week until you die, kind of a thing now. That's kind of where I like some other countries are completely different. Like they have several breaks. You have sabbaticals that you can take, all this stuff, where here in America, we're all about work, have a little bit of playtime, and that's it. But you basically live to work, where other countries, you work to
live. Basically. Yeah.
So
no,
it's like, how do we flip that? And I think that's why there's a lot of people now, especially the whatever generation we're on.
Whatever.
You're having a lot less people in the workforce because they're like,
it's a pushback against it, but it's going to suck for us because the problem is so as we get older, who takes care of you in healthcare?
Yeah.
The generation and the second generation, the next two generations below you,
Social Security,
and the generation right below us
gone.
doesn't want to do service work at all. So like, pray to God they figure out AI to wipe our asses because.
Well, that and I don't know. It's just crazy to me to think that they'd just rather stay at home. They don't care about living. They just do it other ways.
Yeah.
And they're half the stuff. I don't know. I don't feel like it's kind of legal.
Yeah, and the market for all the online NFT, like not beyond just a picture, but like owning digital property and I don't know. Like I don't want to be in like sure, I don't mind playing GTA for a couple hours, but like I don't need to be immersed like in my whole life involved in this other world. Or like I'm worth $10 million online, but like I'm broke in real life. Like I can't afford McDonald's. Like
they're gonna wonder like, oh, I won't ever have a retirement or Social Security or healthcare because I never worked. Shit.
Yeah.
There'd be a way we can kind of merge what other countries do versus us. Like, you know, not go to the strict, like there's a lot of talk of the 4-day work week here.
I think that'd be beneficial, really.
Or just pay appropriately beyond that. Like change overtime to beyond 30 or 32 hours. You know what I mean? 32 hours. Like give someone a day of overtime. You know what I mean? We're what we make now compared to what our dads made, compared to what our grandpas made, like what they could get in 19 I want to say it was like early 70s. It was either like 69 or 70, 71. If you had a part-time job as a teenager in the summer, you could buy the top-of-the-line Camaro.
Yeah.
Just working that summer. Do you think a kid could go work at the pool this summer and afford a brand new ZL1?
No.
Do you think he's making 60 grand this summer? Because back when our dad was young, you made enough to afford that car.
Yeah, inflation too.
Oh, and boomers now when they're like, oh, why don't all your friends have houses? Like so-and-so still lives at home. Yeah, because their starter home is $240,000 for 700 square foot now.
And I think it's going up even crazier than that. That was like 4 or 5 years. They said the best the average home for a single family starter family home was 250. I guarantee it's almost double that now.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous.
So going back to the gun topic. So if this were to expand to the state level and become more prevalent, say the state we live in kind of passes something similar and it stands. Would that cause you to move out of state and go somewhere else?
I'd move to a different country. Fuck this country at that point. You're taking away
most other countries, though, aren't as...
I'd rather go live in another country where you're going to make better and have better work life.
Over if you could just move to Missouri and have what you want. I don't know. Like, that would be tough. Like, if Missouri didn't do it and Kansas did, like in Keith's scenario, I would consider it. It would depend on where I'm at in life, though. Like I said, like we're interested in building a custom home in Kansas. If I've broke ground on that, I'm not leaving Kansas for gun rights. Like I'm gonna treat it like I do weed rights. Like Missouri is completely legal, Kansas isn't. I can drive 11 minutes from my house and I can buy weed. So
let's say, since we live so close to the border, let's say both Kansas and Missouri, say they pass something similar to what they did in Washington. We all own guns, say, even if it's grandfathered in, but you can't transfer the guns that you own, so you can't pass your guns down to your child or
Sure,
sell
I
them.
They just won't know about
Not
it.
with it. No, legally, if your son gets caught with that, I mean, he's going to face whatever ramifications there are with that.
I would look into the laws and find a loophole. If me, you, and 12 other people had to go rent an apartment in Missouri that we never went to for residency, that's what I would do to keep my
That or
rights.
go own like some of these states for you to own a plot of land. They'll sell you like a 1 foot by 1 foot.
Yep. That's
Find a
what people
place
do.
like that.
Yeah,
Fuck
they
that.
do that for car titles
Yeah.
and stuff to save on taxes
Yep.
and like Wyoming and stuff.
But you know how we're always telling people, oh, move out of that state. It's a little harder, especially if you have kids, you're rooted there, you have family.
Well, it's different for us too because like I said, I live 11 minutes. In 11 minutes, I can be to a dispensary in Missouri from my house.
Right.
It's a little further for you guys, but like still, you're under an hour from like making that decision. But if you live 7 hours from the border, like that's not as much of a decision.
If it's coming down to a state level and all the states like adopt these policies, what's the point of living in the U.S. at that point?
No, there's not.
Where would
really
I've
not.
heard the same argument on if the dollar crashes. Let's say the dollar doesn't become the predominant thing in the world, then there's no benefit to being an American. Would you stay in America? China's the superpower, and the dollar isn't worth shit. And when you travel worldwide, it doesn't mean a damn thing like it does now. Would you stay here?
I wouldn't.
I don't think I would either.
Yeah.
where would you go?
I'm somewhere where I could have the predominant currency. Somewhere not China that I could have the predominant currency. So somewhere that accepted China's currency, like somewhere that accepts U.S. currency right now, is where I would go. Some third world country that I could do stuff, with
Dirt
America because you're an American in a foreign country,
Yep.
but not here.
What other country? I mean, there's got to be some other countries to where you're able to own guns. Maybe not quite to the extent we.
I'd go to
have.
Ukraine, fuck up Russia.
From what I understand of Jamaica, like a lot of the islands, even though things are highly illegal, so many boats come in and out of there that it's very, very easy to own things you're not supposed to.
There's
but
a lot of places that way,
but
though.
places like that too, like the problem with like Jamaica or most islands like that is that like why you don't see 55-plus-year-olds living there is the healthcare shit.
Yeah.
Like
The healthcare shit, and you're susceptible to, with the ever changing weather. I mean,
also
you're bound to get a crazy hurricane, and most people there can't afford to rebuild.
well, also imagine that too. Like let's say guns are illegal, but you've got a couple $100 that you could spare, right, Keith?
Mm-hmm.
I can get you a gun. That goes for the whole country.
But what happens if you have to use that gun? You just toss it? Like, I don't know what happened to this guy. He's got a hole in him.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly
I'm sure
what
at that
happens to
point
gun.
there's no serial numbers. They're not tracing shit like they do here.
There's no registration or anything in that country. Like it's illegal, period.
Remember, criminals will find a way. At that point,
Apparently.
we'd all just be criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you even have to ditch it because either you got caught with it or you didn't. Hopefully, you never have to use it, no matter where you're at. But
'Cause you always have those people that say, oh, you're going to have to pry my gun out of my cold, dead hands. I think if it came down to it, and like say the ATF is full on gear banging on your door,
If you can't beat them, join them, right?
You're
and then
probab-
bend the law to you.
yeah, you're probably not going to be like, all right, let's go guns a-blazing, because is it really worth it at that point?
well, me and Chris both just described the fact that we are not from our cold dead hands in reality, is what that means. Like, I would give up all of my guns, take my family, turn and run to have my whole family alive together in any country in the world, no matter how much shittier it was, than stay here and fight for gun rights to live here if you're going to take away my gun rights.
Yeah, like you're born with these rights. That's what our Constitution's on, and you're taking away those fundamental rights at that point. You're not in America anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You are not in America anymore.
And that would suck for somebody that served, like you.
Yeah,
Like, you served for this country, and now you can't.
yeah, like you're taking away the one thing I defended for us, and then now you're wanting to take it away from me. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking. I was actually looking at maybe joining the ATF to go in there and fucking fuck them all up. Right? What? Like, who says you can't?
What would you do?
Whoops! I didn't see anything. And like, fuck. Who's stopping you?
You know, there are a lot of.
It's like bail bondsmen. They get away with fucking murder pretty much. There's a prick on one of them I keep watching. I was like, I wish this motherfucker come to my house. I would fucking shoot his ass up. Talking
when
that
they're
shit.
completely violating
Yeah.
laws and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
you're
fuck
not-
you. You're on my property. Get the fuck off.
Correct. Yeah, you don't get an exemption just because of your job title.
Yeah. Like,
Like
he's
that Patty
shot.
Mayo guy
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. If that dude came, headshot. Done. And I'd go over there and teabag him.
All right.
Yeah, that dude, I watched a video this weekend of him, and he went in there and pepper sprayed someone. I was like, who the fuck are you? Oh, you want to play it this way? Acting all big and bad. Motherfucker, you go into someone's real house and see what the fuck happens. Go do that to a SEAL. I'd love to see that.
I don't know. I feel like we don't have a lot of stuff perfect either, though. Like, if you took away gun rights, like, what is keeping me here? Because, like, it's a running joke in America. Like, I've seen so many memes of, like, fuck around and find out, Russia. You'll find out why we don't have unified healthcare. Yeah, because we spend all of our money on our military.
Yep.
And then you're going to tell me I can't own an AR-15, and we spent more money this year on our military than the next 15 countries below us have in
Not to
10?
mention how much fucking money did we just leave in a country?
Correct.
And you want to talk about fucking gun control?
Yeah. And to give them guns.
Yeah.
To hand them over
Yeah.
guns. And you're telling me I should give up mine because that could never happen. And
Yeah.
it just happened to people that thought it could never happen where they're
Yeah.
not. Like,
Yep.
no. Hard pass on that. I'm not trusting anyone with my own safety.
Nope.
There you go.
Exactly.
Luckily, we have the Supreme Court. That seems to
Yep.
be
Pretty good right now.
pretty good right now. We'll see. That can always change.
Yeah.
Well, and Trump said that too, though. Like, so to go back on like the abortion stuff that changed, that was kind of fucked up. When Trump did that, he said that he was stuck between a rock and a hard place, basically, and he knew for a fact when he was out of office, they would attack abortion rights because that's how they leaned and they had the numbers. And he goes, I either give them that and it happens when I'm gone, or I give them guns and it happens when I'm gone.
Yeah.
He goes, so I'm not giving them guns. He goes, because I'm such a, I want to protect the Second Amendment more than anything, so I'm not giving them guns. He goes,
Yeah.
but I know for a fact that they're going to go and fuck up abortion rights as soon as I'm out of office, and they did.
Yeah. Everything he said has pretty much come true.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's-
as a president, like, I get where he was. Like, he gave us the justices to, like, that's the only thing that saved us by the Biden administration. Like, if that didn't happen, could you imagine how fucked we would be? Everything would have just been, like, streamlined past.
Yep.
Just done. We probably wouldn't be allowed to own a pocket knife right now.
Yeah, probably. And we'd be getting invaded by Russia right now.
Oh, yeah. You take those guns away. Yeah, why would another country not invade
Every
us?
country would be.
I think more China. Russia's preoccupied.
I don't know.
right
The
now.
only thing I've seen about that is food, is that Russia or China rely so heavily on us. We provide 70% of the world with food, that if you attack us, we quit providing you with food, and you have to bring your own food from China here for your supply lines. Unless you can take food sources in America, you die.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
But the scary thing is, like, I didn't realize the severity of the amount of, if you include like the reserves here with our army, you include the reserves in China. China has over a 200 million standing man army. We have 300 million in our population.
yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. That, and they're looking at Taiwan. I know that's coming down the pipe.
But that was all about those microchips, and the microchips are coming here. So I
Yeah.
don't know that it's worth it.
If they do it fast enough, it will be.
I still don't think it's worth, like, they only have 5th gen technology in Taiwan, and the 6th gen technology is only being produced here. So you're gonna get old technology.
They don't care because what they
have is worse.
What China does is they'll go in there, take it, copy it, make it their own, and then they'll try to start sending people over here and go to those chip factories and learn our technology, take it back, rip us off because our patents are useless over there.
Yeah.
Just like the automotive, they copy and paste pretty much everybody's shit.
They do that to their own country.
Yeah.
It's not just us. That's how they view things. They view it totally different. There's no copyright laws. It's if you can do it better and make more money, we get the same % from you as we do the next guy. So do it better.
We'll do it better and cheaper and have more quantity.
Yep.
So,
Fucking China.
hey, before too long, they're gonna be the ones busting down our door.
We'll see.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Him, Russia, and then Mexico. Fuck. Can't reply to the guys up north. They don't have guns or knives.
Nope. They don't have handguns. They don't have.
Hey, don't knock
assault
Canada. I'm
weapons.
trying to buy an R-34 from them eventually. 2027, baby.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I mean, take away our guns and see what happens. I guarantee we'll be not America anymore.
when it's to the point to where I don't think you know there's no traditional warfare anymore. We're not going to have troops on the ground with China. I think it's going to
as
more.
soon as they take away our guns, they will be marching their asses through here, just taking what they want.
I don't know. I think they would do more cyber. Because I mean, all you got to do is take down our power.
Ultimately, they want our farmland.
Yeah. All you got to do, all they have to do
a
is
food problem. Is what they have. They have a major food problem.
Well, if they took down our power grid, which is not that hard, we're fucked. We're all gonna die just because we don't know how to fucking do anything without power. So then they let that, us kill each other over that, and then they come in afterwards, provide a little bit relief, be our savior, and take over the farmlands and stuff like that. Instead of sending in their million troops, just let Americans kill Americans when we take that.
It is a part of, like, they've had defectors from both China and Russia, and both, like, spies from both countries have stated, like, EMP is in the plans as a primary means, like, to start an attack for a war would be an EMP. And I think the balloons were a test of, like, what they could get away with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Can we get away with doing this before people?
Yeah, which is terrifying. Like, it's something like 60 to 90% of the population can die within 2 weeks.
Yep.
Without power.
What sucks is because if you're on the West Coast, that's primarily where they're going to come from.
Yep.
Guess who isn't about to own any guns? The West Coast. So it's an open, oh, hey, we can't defend ourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. It's like the front line of defense is like, we should get rid of these.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
We got a military base over there.
Basically both coasts, so we're fucked on both coasts.
Yeah.
Once they get to the Midwest, then there's going to be some resistance. But
so speaking of that, have you heard about? I forget the name of it, but there's a plan. It basically, I think it was called nuclear deterrence. Is the plan, but we put all of the missile fields like purposefully in the northern part of the Midwest. We're safe in Kansas, thank God. Like, there's no major missile fields here like we thought. It's all above us. Like, Nebraska has some, but they purposely built all the missile fields in the middle of America because we don't have high population centers. So the idea is that nuclear sponge. It's called a nuclear sponge. You can look it up. And they are putting money. In 2023, they refunded the nuclear sponge, which is that we would absorb hits from Russia or China or whoever was attacking us because we have such a concentration of nukes to attack them, and they rely heavily on our submarines for the response. So the idea is that we're just the low population centers to take the hits. Not Kansas City, thank God, but everything north of us is like basically just to take nuclear hits because we have the most amount of time to see the nuke coming, respond, and send stuff from somewhere else. They don't even plan on sending the nukes that they're shooting at out.
well, that would suck.
Yeah, it's called a nuclear sponge. Like we're basically just a big target.
Even if we don't die from the blast, there's going to be effects that we will probably not survive.
Yeah, radiation.
Oh
all
yeah,
that.
I don't know if you've ever looked. You can look up nukemaps.com. You can put in you can put in Russia's biggest bomb, which is the one, like the biggest one in the world, and you can put it anywhere you want and see what it does. Which, if that goes off, to give people an idea, we currently are 30 minutes from downtown Kansas City.
Yep.
So Spring Hill is 45 minutes from downtown Kansas City. Everything in Spring Hill that's wood catches on fire if the biggest nuclear bomb from Russia goes off.
Downtown.
In Spring Hill is how far out and you can see like every bomb, like where, if it went off where, what it does, and how far out it goes. It's insane.
But most of the farmland is here.
Correct.
So then you kind of,
I mean, there's a lot.
there's a
on the
lot
coast,
elsewhere,
too.
but
There's
lot of
farmland
it.
in New York and California, and
But but
Midwest usually though.
yeah,
primarily Midwest. So you're going to totally fuck up the feeding the population because you're not going to be able to farm anything
For years.
for
Correct.
decades
Yeah.
after that. I don't know. I just think nukes are,
it's mutually
it's
assured
stupid.
destruction. Yeah,
yeah, like it
it's
fucks either side.
much more than like a half dozen, and yeah, pretty much the world's fucked.
Yeah.
The sad thing is we got enough to destroy everything
Yeah, over and over and over
Yeah,
and over
just-
again.
between America and Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nukes are
But
bad.
the speculation on, and I believe it, like I didn't before, but seeing them in Ukraine, the speculation that like a lot of their shit doesn't work. Like if they claim to have 18,000 nukes, I think, granted 6 is more than enough
Yeah.
to do it. But I think that if they claim 18,000, 9,000 aren't going off
Yeah.
is where they're at.
yeah.
Jeez. Scary thought.
So it's funny because my grandpa's old house was built in the 50s or 60s, kind of like during the the Cold War era or whatever. There was a bunker built. So underneath is
Where's this at?
Shawnee, older
Really?
part of Shawnee,
Really?
55th and oh crap, what was the name of that road? I don't know. It was off Flanders Park or whatever the hell that is by my parents' old house.
Yeah.
It's over in that area, and he was wanting to take out the concrete pad, his patio, and the contractor was trying to take that thing up, but for the life he could not
Breakthrough.
break through that the pad. And when they were redoing the kitchen, they tore up the floor and everything and found a door that led down to a shelter that was actually the pad that was outside. They just filled in, they concreted in, so you actually couldn't go down from the kitchen anymore. But it was actually reinforced rebar concrete that was, and then there were holes, and we're like, what are those for? Like they had something there. No, they were for the exhaust and stuff like that. So they had a bomb shelter that was built back then during that era. Would you consider doing the same thing if you were to build a house
On land? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I have a book on how to do it, and I've considered it. So when Hillary, I watched several different YouTube channels. When Hillary was looking like she was gonna win, if Hillary had won, I was gonna start digging a giant asshole in my backyard. And it's not that crazy. Like the book I have, like, sure, there's different levels of protection, but like you have to think about like how directly hit. Like, do you really think your house is gonna get hit directly with a nuke, or is it gonna be a mile away, 5 miles away, 30 miles away? Like what 2 or 3 feet of earth and some gravel can do is unreal. Like just having a basement that's built 2 foot further halves radiation like every 2 foot. So a 4 foot down basement that has 4 foot of earth on top of it halves radiation times 2 just before it gets to it, with nothing built over top of it. Now, if that's below your house, then it's having it even more between that. So
How long until you can?
48 hours minimum before you can come back out. You want to find the tallest structure in your area, which you should already have in mind of like where you could get in 2 minutes, where you could get in 5, where you could get in 10, where you could get in 20, because you don't know how much time you're going to have. The idea is that the government is going to give us probably less than 10 minutes to know before a nuke hits you. Like, you're going to be lucky if you have 15 minutes. So think about where you could get, what's the tallest building near you or deepest structure. And then taller is better, because if you're in a 10-story concrete structure and you're in their basement, then you have 10 stories of radiation to drop onto you when that shit like falls down if you're in the center. And then it takes about 48 hours, assuming there's no rain, before you can safely walk on it.
That'd be a good podcast episode.
I could talk more on that.
Yeah.
I own a Geiger counter and stuff like that, and I have a book on nukes and stuff, because I was legitimately worried about it during the Hillary campaign.
Yeah, that could be a whole other podcast, is what to do in a nuclear situation.
Yeah.
Talk about that. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more realistic again, which is scary.
Sucks.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you're just fucking
Also,
everybody.
they're
Nobody
watching
wins.
Twister the other day.
that's scary enough. Yeah,
You know who's never seen Twister? And we gave him so
Oh,
much
yeah.
shit? Hunter.
But I was like, at the end of it, when the family comes out of the shelter, I was like, man, you do not see that anymore. Like, there's no real shelters. Everyone just goes to their basement.
Yeah.
Like, where's like the old shelter home that you had for tornadoes and things like
We're
that?
gonna put one in our master bedroom if we build. My wife, though, it was funny. My dad was talking, and he goes, "They're building a home with a basement now. If we get this 10 acres, because they're gonna be able to reuse an old foundation that's on the property." But,
Yeah.
But originally, my dad's like, "I'm just gonna build a slab home with no basement." My wife goes, "In Tornado Alley, you wouldn't want a basement," and I'm like, "We don't have a basement right now, and we live in Tornado Alley. Like, we sleep every night.
Yeah.
Where you're talking about in the same situation, like, it's gonna be okay."
Yeah.
Like,
What I think, like, when you see that in that show and don't see that, those shelters, most of those farmhouses didn't have basements back then.
No.
well,
Like,
you
so
gotta
that's
think
why they
about
built
that
the
too. Though.
storm.
Like, imagine that tornado came right through here. Like, we could die, and Hunter right next door could live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think,
it's so random.
depending on the size of the tornado, if it's like super big, whether you have a basement or not, you're fucked.
Yeah.
It's better to be in a dedicated storm shelter because you're underneath earth.
Correct.
Whereas,
or one of the bolt, like, they make above ground ones you can put in your garage that are
Yeah.
that are 1/2-inch steel that are gonna survive an F5. Like, a truck could fucking hit the thing,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's gonna be all right.
but like if a big enough tornado comes through, it's gonna rip our house off the foundation, expose our basement, or collapse stuff in it. So you're still
Yeah.
yeah,
fucked.
yeah, being collapsed in a basement that's flooding or something isn't a better scenario.
so a dedicated storm shelter is actually a better way to go than just a
Yeah.
basement.
But I was sitting there thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, if I built a house right now, I'd probably build like my own shelter just for like that.
Yeah.
There's so many uses for it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
That's
if you're
my
already-
plan. Is it's going to be my gun room, and it's going to be our storm shelter
Yeah.
all in one. Below our, you're going to enter through our master closet and go down, and it's going to be a small basement. And that's it. And
Yeah.
the rest is going to be a slab home.
My dad's boss, the guy that owns Olathe Glass, well, he was talking about this gun vault he has. It's underneath his garage, and I forgot how thick he said the concrete walls were this place, but it's big enough for he's got a vault door, and it's big enough to where it would withstand a blast. Like, this is a
Yeah,
room
yeah.
that's concrete on concrete all around. I'm like, damn, that would be nice.
I have a good friend that I thought was fucking with me. Now he's a general contractor out in Colorado, and he builds custom homes, so he makes good money. But I still thought he was fucking with me because he had a crack in his back patio, and I've been to his house before. And he goes, "We're taking it up, and we're gonna build a gun range below." And I go, "Wouldn't that be cool?" And I sent him a link to the collector, and he goes, "Oh, mine's gonna have," like, he sent me the door and specs and different stuff. I'm like, "Wait, you're not fucking with me right now? Like, you're putting a gun range under your back patio?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "We're doing a 45-foot long underground bunker door
Jeez.
gun range in my back patio." He's like, "It cracked, so I got to tear it up anyways. So we're gonna dig down." I'm like, "What?" Like,
Wouldn't that be nice?
yeah,
Fuck it, I want to go to the range. I'll be back.
yeah.
Go
I wanna
downstairs.
downstairs in my basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, would be nice.
That's what we do. Just buy land, build our own shit.
Yeah, it's just
So
that money
I-
situation you gotta
Here's
have.
what I want. So, and I'm thinking about trying to do it. So the most economy way to do this is to buy storm drains, like the round storm drains.
Yep.
So ideally, I would like to have my house built with this small bunker that's going to be my gun room in it. And if I can afford it, I'm going to put storm drain tunnels
all the way through.
over like another to where I'm going to build my shop and come up. And I'm going to
Hell
build
yeah.
the same room below the office that goes in my shop so that if we had to, we could exit our house. Like, let's say it's not a storm and it's a fire. We can go in our closet and come out the shop. Or if we're in the shop, we can come up in the house and no one else knows about it.
There you go.
That's the idea.
Yeah. The only thing about all these cool ideas is the money factor.
It's, yeah.
Luckily, you're in construction, so you
There's-
get a little bit better
I
deal.
get a little better deal, but yeah, I'm probably gonna have to sell my boat and possibly my car to make all this shit happen. But
and your first child
yeah,
with the price of concrete going up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no joke.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about that hour mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we should get Jacob back on and have a whole nuclear.
yeah.
Doomsday
I could
prep.
prepare
Doomsday.
for that a little better. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Check that out
That'll
because
be-
I've read
that'll
the
be a
book.
fun episode.
Yeah, I've read like a Survivor Series book, but it was more of an EMP versus a nuclear thing.
Yeah,
Even on the ship, we trained for like a nuclear blast. And fuck, it sucked because you had to get in full-fledged mop gear. And it was like after the blast, you go down and hose down the whole ship, get all the radiation off. It's like, fuck.
Well, people used to have like meters and guess who's calling me? People used to have like meters and like gas masks and stuff like that. Nobody has that stuff anymore.
I've got a gas
have
mask.
meter, I have gas mask for me and my wife. I have full armor for me and my wife. I have pandemic suits. I have chem suits.
I got none of that. I got a plate carrier with armor. That's it.
I think better plate carriers than I have. It's all like shit you learn and then you buy it and you're like, I buy it in a panic, like thinking I'm gonna need this, and it's like, fuck, man, I didn't research that enough. Like,
Yeah.
I spent 2 hours doing it, and 10 hours later, I'm like, fuck, I should have bought this instead of that. But
Oh well.
it is
Live,
what it
you
is.
learn.
Better than not having it. I
Yep.
guess.
Yep. Exactly. Cool. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for episode number 70. We're getting up there.
Dang.
30 more.
30 more, and you open up that bottle of Sinatra.
Exactly.
Better be on in 30.
Cool. Well, Chris, why don't you go ahead and say all those things?
Remember, this is a YouTube podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle that bell. And if you're listening on any other platforms, such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon, remember to hit that follow. With that, have a good one.